Well, now joining us here on A's Cast Live. I don't know if you know this, Shooty, but where I live, this man is a legend. It was not that long ago. I was at a high school graduation party about a week and a half, and a fellow Bellarmine graduate told me that Billy Owens is the greatest high school player he's ever seen. Of course, not only did he star in football and baseball at Bellarmine Prep down in San Jose, went on to have a great career at the University of Arizona, then in the minor leagues, getting all the way to AAA. But we know him as a talent evaluator, nobody better, assistant general manager of the Athletics, Billy Owens. Billy O, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. Great to see you guys, Tootie, Townie, and Shooty, man. How you guys doing?
We are doing well, and we got a couple players that are the huge buzz in all of baseball right now. Originally, we thought we were going to start out with this whole thing talking Jacob Wilson because everybody's talking about how great he is, but Denzel Clarke, once again, my God, the catch in Anaheim was unreal. Ed Sprague, who you know so well and work with, when we had him on here, he said, the only kind of comp I got for him as an athlete, that kind of athleticism, is Bo Jackson. And now that we have seen it, nothing shocks us anymore. Just when you see Denzel play and what you've known, just talk about how this is one of the best athletes you've ever seen.
Yeah, really best. I mean, putting on a baseball uniform, thought about it last night after, the play was kind of like Vinsanity. Vince Carter, the great basketball player, and we remember the dunk contest all the way back in 2001. He kind of put his hands up in the air after doing some stuff that we literally have never seen before. But as far as a size, speed, strength, agility component, is probably Megatron. Calvin Johnson, Hall of Fame wide receiver, Detroit Lions, 6'5". Just read this morning, actually prepping for this, that I think there's been like 3 guys at the combine, NFL combine, that run like a 4.3, 6'5" or taller, and that's kind of the athleticism that Denzel portrays out there. It's Megatron. It's Calvin Johnson.
You know what? I was making the comp of, from a football standpoint, he reminds me of Randy Moss. They're both 6'4". He's a little bit heavier than Randy Moss, but we used to see Randy Moss put that hand up, right, when he'd get past the DB, and you knew it was quarterback was throwing it to him, and it was going to be a touchdown. When he's jumping over that wall like that, I'm thinking Randy Moss.
Yeah, no, Randy Moss is a freak athlete. I mean, and honestly, Randy Moss crossed my mind this morning as well. I kind of went back and forth, the true freak Randy Moss or Megatron, and I settled on Megatron. I think Megatron's a tick taller, pretty much as physical as Denzel is. But yeah, I mean, that's the comparison. It's Megatron, Calvin Johnson, it's Randy Moss, it's Vince Carter, Vinsanity. It's unreal athleticism and strength.
First of all, I know a lot more about Billy Owens than you probably know.
Did you scout him?
My dad always told me not to talk about yourself. Let other people do so. So my tenure in scouting for 32 years now, I'm a little older than Billy, but I have been knowing who he was and is for a long time. And your reputation precedes you, and his has been earned. Not only the magnificent player, the brilliant guy from Bellarmine Prep down your way. Did you go to Bellarmine Prep? Anyway.
Well, what the hell does that do? I grew up in San Diego.
I'm just trying to let you know how
I played against him when he was at the University of Arizona. A lot of my teammates were Bellarmine guys at San Jose State.
My point is, I just want to give Billy his props today. So proud of you, Billy. You are, I don't have to speak for you. You know, everyone knows who you are. Just by talking about Denzel, it just goes to show you the work that you put in, putting together a report, representing or presenting a player, and you talk about all the comparisons and all the things that go in the recipe to make the player that you end up choosing. A player like Denzel, who wasn't a 1-1, he wasn't a first-round pick, he wasn't the first guy. And there are things that we all watch when we're scouting, but only a few see some of the things that are seen in a guy like Denzel. So when you saw Denzel, and we look at Denzel, he's 26 years old, and I figured all the different sports and different things that he's done in his life, he never got a chance to play baseball full time, so it's quite natural for the bat to be a little late. But man, oh man, it's arriving very quickly. When you see a kid like Denzel, which you don't see anywhere, he's unique, he's different. He's like Jacob Wilson. They're different. You can compare him all day long, but you can't say he's just like. But Denzel's definitely a feather in your cap. And for you to step out on a limb on a guy who's pretty much a lot of people didn't say, oh, here's a baseball player with a lot of tools. No, this is a guy with a skill set that I don't know what it's going to end up being. But for you to see it come to fruition like this today, I know you got to be pretty proud.
Yeah, and honestly, with Denzel, being fortunate to see Denzel at a high school, and so getting a glimpse of, he's cousins with Bo Naylor, the Naylor twin brothers out there, both in the major leagues, but having a glimpse of Denzel Clarke in high school, and then Eric Kubota doing a tremendous job of identifying the tools of Denzel, sending me. I actually saw Denzel play. It was Cal State Northridge. Actually, they were home against Cal State Fullerton, but having the visual of seeing Denzel in high school to 3 years later of the improvements that he made in those 3 years is pretty astonishing. And then couple that with the freak athleticism, and you're seeing a glimpse of what he's going to be able to do. Because, yeah, it's astonishing. The defense, I believe the offense will come. It'll come probably a little bit later, but it's coming. I mean, he can recognize a pitch. The power is unreal. And so the complete player will eventually be here. But going from what he looked like in high school to Cal State Northridge, from A-ball, AA, AAA, to seeing that play last night in the major leagues and seeing the strides he's made offensively so far, it's pretty amazing. And the kid's got a really tremendous work ethic. His background, his mother was a heptathlete in the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. His father actually has Olympic background as well. He's got the Naylor brothers in the major leagues, and he also has some cousins that played in the Canadian professional football league too. So, yeah, I mean, this guy's made from outer space. I think Megatron is just 6'5". I mean, if there's a 100-yard dash in Major League Baseball, I'd put, my money be on Denzel. So I think that, maybe a couple quicker guys that might get out the blocks in the first 10 yards with those long strides he'd win that 100-yard dash, and he'd win the vertical and the agility and athleticism and the work ethic. It's going to put that all the pieces together, and he's going to be a phenomenal player.
Yeah, there's no question. It is a track athlete type skill set playing center field. It is incredible. Also incredible. Jacob Wilson, Billy O, the last week, we have brought up names, whether it's Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, Don Mattingly, Robin Yount. Then he's doing stuff that we got to go back in this organization to Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons. We're going to the early 1900s. It's amazing all these different names that have come up when you start talking about, well, he's doing this and he's doing this and he can match that or he can pass that. You're talking about the greats of the greats. Are you surprised at all what he has done so far this year?
Yeah, actually, we talked about this a year ago. I mean, I played against Derek Jeter in the minor leagues. Derek Jeter and Jacob Wilson, they were both the 6th overall pick of the Major League Draft, 30 years apart. And 6'3", lithe build, going to fill out, innate hand-eye coordination, kind of that aw shucks but serious demeanor, focused. I mean, it's a unique skill set, and playing against the captain Derek Jeter, pretty much his whole minor league career. It was 2 or 3 years, but I played against him every step of his journey in the minor leagues. And scouting Jacob Wilson, I mean, that seeing him 2021 at Grand Canyon was a COVID year, so you couldn't fly until like April that year. So Grand Canyon actually matched up against really good teams, and living in Phoenix, saw the kid, Jeff Erlap did an awesome job, area scout that signed him, that saw like 15 or 20 games, and he was hitting 400 plus as a freshman. You knew he had to fill out. And then the next year as a sophomore, I remember just going out scouting all these other games across the country. And about May, I wanted to peek at the stats. I was kind of curious, what the sophomore Grand Canyon was doing. And I saw that he was hitting 4+ and had only struck out like 3 times at that time with like 200 at bats. And so you kind of pictured that Derek Jeter, performance. And, it's a different market. It's Sacramento compared to New York City. It's 30 years apart. But I played against one of those guys up close and personal, saw his father, Jack, play a lot. Jacob Wilson reminds me of Derek Jeter.
Billy, looking at the position you're in.
By the way, it's a pretty good player, Derek Jeter. He had a nice little career.
Different, real. And I've used those words time and time again over Jacob Wilson. Good hitters get a lot of hits and they don't make a lot of outs. And they make hard contact. And this dude just is in position all the time. It seems like he's never off balance. He's always in the at-bat. Seemed to always be ahead of the count. If he gets behind in the count, he could foul pitches off and extend at bats. I mean, it's just an elite skill that he has. Billy, we're in different times right now. A lot of times you identify a kid like that might be younger, but now these kids are getting there in a hurry. And for the most part, they're expected to perform. As an evaluator like you are, I mean, what's the toughest challenge for kids when you go out and identify, knowing that more than likely, if they're that elite player, it's going to be a maybe 1 or 2 year look in the minor leagues, and we're going to get you to the big leagues right away? Is that something that goes into your mindset when you're out acquiring players now, or is it always just, hey, we're going to get the best player and we'll get him and fit him in where he fits in?
I think you want to get the best player for sure, regardless of the timeline. But just where we were in the standings the last couple years, we picked in the top 10. And so, Jacob Wilson had a unique skill set. I mean, he led NCAA in contact rate 2 years in a row. His father played in the major leagues. He played the same position as his father, and he had an unreal ability that I believe the athletics organization identified, because, in that year of the draft, it was perception was there was supposed to be a big 5 per se. And we were picking 6, and guys were talking about, what are you going to do at 6? Because it's really a big 5. And do you want, one of those guys to slide to you? But honestly, selfishly, I was always hoping that Jacob Wilson was the guy, because that skill set, the background, the demeanor, thought it definitely was unique. I go back to my scouting report. I talked about how, he was raised by his father, and I think he went to PNC Park. But I think after batting practice every day, he snuck in the TV lounge and he watched Derek Jeter play as well, because the skill set is eerily reminiscent to that, and he's got a couple inches on Jack too. So, and then also in the top 10, the year before, the next year, Nick Kurtz. This guy was, Wake Forest had 2 top 20 overall picks, Brock Wilkin and Rhett Lauder, when Nick Kurtz was a sophomore. And so going to see those 2 guys play, and they're Lauder played and pitched in the big leagues already, and Wilkins having a great year in AA. But at Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh, Nick Kurtz hit a ball that, Shooty, when we played, they talk about how Willie Stargell hit 2 balls out of, Dodger Stadium, and you go to this other park, and Bo Jackson did this, and Nick Kurtz hit a ball that, as a 27-year scout, 8-year minor league player, decent hitter myself, he hit a ball that I'm not sure that I've ever seen before. And so after looking at, Lauder and Wilkin and, the rest of that talented Wake Forest crew, this Nick Kurtz guy is for real. So from a timeline perspective, picking in the top 10, Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilson are unique players.
Yeah, you start talking about, throw Lawrence Butler in there, and you start looking at all these young players, this core. I mean, this core has got to help this team win and dig out of where we are right now, but it also shows you the future is so bright. Talk about Luis Morales down at AAA in Las Vegas. He's gotten called up. We know the Cuban is a big part of the future. What have you seen with this right-handed pitcher?
Yeah, really, Luis Morales and Jack Perkins. I mean, Morales, 22 years old, got that little El Duque machismo about him, confident kid. He can bring the heater up to 98, 99, got a solid changeup, really good breaking stuff, a lot of strikes, aggressive in the zone, got some flavor to him, really good pitcher. And Jack Perkins, Jack Perkins got his stuff's elite. I mean, he's really got. I think he's got like 5 pitches. He's 97 to 100. Fastball's not straight. He's got like a nasty curveball, a really good slider. They got a sweeper, they call it now, a dynamic changeup. So Jack Perkins is really, really nasty. Luis Morales is upper echelon prospect. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see those two components. And we got a glimpse of JT Ginn so far. I mean, Ginn, he's got a dynamic sinker. I mean, if you go back across the bay, Logan Webb's got that, that nasty, sink on him. Ginn's got a dominant pitch like that. He's got to put the other components together, but he's got real ingredients. So Perkins, Morales, Ginn, definitely in that next wave of arms, and they'll be here soon.
And Gabe Jump, too, what he's doing at AA. So there's a whole lot of talent down there.
Hey, Jump's a bad boy. I mean, Jump is he might jump on in pretty soon, too, now. I mean, this guy's lefty California kid, spent a little time at UCLA, but went to LSU, who's playing my Arizona Wildcats bear down in the College World Series. But, Gabe's Jump is real. I mean, that's 3 pitches. It's left-handed. Honestly, the kid last night, Kikuchi from the Angels, Gage Jump is very similar stuff, style, delivery, components to Kikuchi, Gage Jump.
Billy O, nobody better in the business. We always love having you on, man. You're looking TV ready. We're gonna have to get you. We're gonna get you up to West Sacramento and get you on the TV booth. You look good, man. Ready to go.
And
got the suits ready for that television time anytime.
The best report writer in baseball, hands down.
Shooty says I got to read some of your reports.
I can't let him in the Bible like that.
You see the Jacob Wilson, that Derek Jeter's right there now. It's prominent.
Billy O, you are the best. You're a legend, my friend. We'll check in with you soon, and obviously the draft is right around the corner.
Looking forward to it, man. Bear down, Arizona. Go A's.
All right.
Billy Owens, Assistant General Manager for the Athletics, right here on A's Cast Live.